the axis which is passing through the centroid of the object. Means horizontal central axis, vertical central axis which are passing. These are nothing but your central axes of this particular rectangular object. So, but what about the base? So it means if you go for defining or placing your rectangular object on xy plane, xy plane. So this is my y plane, y axis. This is my x axis. So xy is a plane. So now Ix is the moment of inertia. If I want to find out the moment of inertia about this central axis, so I have applied parallel axis. I have applied the definition of moment of inertia. Definition of moment of inertia, that is your integration of 0 to a. Always, if you want to find out the moment of inertia about central axis, you have to go for application of integration for the definition of your moment of inertia. Okay, so integration of dA by square, integration of dA into square of the distance between perpendicular distance of your elemental strip where you have assumed. So this is the y. If you square it and do it, we have got the moment of inertia for this rectangle as BDQ by 12. Okay, if it is IYY means it is DBQ by 12. It means we are going to assume now perpendicularly elementary strips. So previously we have taken horizontally and which is making y distance from the central axis. Okay, so now which will make x distance from your vertical axis, this side, x side. So therefore you will apply your definition of moment of inertia, so and integrate in between 0 to a for the differential element which is having differential elemental area into whatever the product of your whatever the distance that you are made from y axis, so that is x distance you are going to get. So this thing is your moment of inertia about I by y. So this is the central axis about I by y. This is the central axis of moment of inertia about xx. Okay, and after that if I want to find out, so see here, a b c d are your a b c d are your corners of a rectangle. CD are your corners of a rectangle. What will happen? So AB is going to be act as a base for this rectangle, and AD is also having is going to be act as a vertical base of your rectangle, which are placed x and y axis respectively. Now this IAB, if I want to find out the moment of inertia about this AB, so this moment of inertia about AB is nothing but, so there this XX axis and also this AB axis are two parallel to each other, or otherwise this X axis and this XX axis two parallel axis to each other. Then we will go for implementing parallel axis theorem. By that we will get the moment of inertia as BDQ by 3. BDQ by 3. So for that purpose, moment of inertia about central axis plus whatever the area is there, so that area will be multiplied with your square of the distance between these two parallel axes. So there whatever my square of the distance between two parallel axes, if d is the total height, so d by 2 is the distance between two parallel axes. One is xx and another is AB. So now I want to find out the moment of inertia about AB. So that is IAB, which is equal to BDQ by 3. But what about AD? So if I want to go for vertical axis, that is going to be giving as a base axis as or acting as a base axis as AD. So therefore I have taken, this is one of the side of a rectangle, vertical side. So I have placed on a y axis, I have placed on a y axis. So that's only moment of inertia of IAD, which is equal to your dBq by 3. So dBq by 3. So why dBq by 3 means, so now b by 2 is going to be act as the perpendicular distance between two parallel axes. Between two parallel axes. Between two parallel axes. Okay, that's only dBq by 3. Okay. So simple thing is the same thing. If it is a hollow rectangular section, so by considering first of all this as a total full rectangular which is having total full content or full material in that particular rectangular section. So from that we are going to subtract the internal portion with the internal dimensions. How many dimensions are there? So first of all, we will go for the full rectangular section moment of inertia. So from this moment of inertia, we are going to subtract the smaller moment of inertia for smaller rectangle. Smaller rectangle, that is BDQ by 12 minus small BDQ by 12. Okay. So what about its vertical axis? So we know that dBQ by 12 is your vertical moment of inertia. It means about the vertical axis, y axis. So this Ixx and Iyy are the central axis. Ixx and Iyy are the central axis. Then what about the moment of inertia about the base axis for this hollow rectangular section? Now see here, base axis is this, okay, AB. So that is nothing but IAB, IAB, IA. IAB. So moment of inertia about base axis. See here. So what is my base? So what is my base? A, B, C, D. Okay, actually A, B, C, D are your sides. Actually A, B and B, C and C, D and AD. Okay, if you want to find out the moment of inertia about this only this axis only, so that is nothing but we know that for full rectangle, first of all, full rectangle dBQ by 3. So full rectangle is having, it means larger rectangle, you are having the formula of dBQ by 3. So from this larger dimensions, larger rectangle moment of inertia, so you are if you go for subtracting the smaller rectangular moment of inertia, that is dBQ by 3. dBQ by 3. dBQ by 3. dBQ by 3. Is it okay? So like this, no worries, only about which axis they are going to ask in the problem. You have to see that particularly, and based on that, you have to go for finding out the moment of inertias. Okay. So axis is very, very important, whether they are going to be give the axis of base axis or otherwise they are going to give to find out the moment of inertia about central axis of that particular figure is very, very important. You have to go for concentrating on which axis. So, rectangular object or otherwise any regular geometry is placed on which axis, whether it may be central axis, whether it may be base axis, you have to go for find out, and afterwards very easily you can apply the formula, you will get the required solution you will get. Then go for circle here. So we have seen already the derivation, already the derivations we have seen. So why I am going to repeating these terms means you have to focus. Okay. So next within 10 minutes we will go for solving the problems related to these formulas. So that's only once again I am recalling this concept. So circle. So see here. So circle I have taken. So we know that always center of the circle will be at this particular location. So which is having central axis are y and xx. So with the diameter of capital D. If I want to find out the moment of inertia about xx axis means definitely r is a perpendicular distance will be there. So that perpendicular distance or otherwise capital D by 2. Capital D by 2 will be there. So if you find out moment of inertia, so if you integrate in between 0 to r, considering elementary ring, actually we consider as elementary step. So integration of 0 to cap cap dA is your, for this one we have to find out the moment of inertia first of all, and afterwards in between 0 to r, in between 0 to, or if you do it, you will get your respect to moment of inertia about your central axis. So that is how much here pi d power 4 by 64 you will get. So why we are going to get moment of inertia for Ixx Iy as same? It means it is symmetrical about any axis. It is symmetrical about any axis. Whatever the figure is there, it is symmetrical about any axis. So there may be x axis you are going to get, y axis you are going to get same amount of area. Same amount of area you are going to get. It means semicircle only you are going to get. Semicircle only you are going to get. So that's why only we will find out the moment of inertia. We will find out the moment of inertia for two central axes as Ixx Iyy is equal to pi d power 4 by 64. Okay, but what about perpendicular axis? About perpendicular axis, these are central axis, no? So about ZZ axis, we are going to apply here perpendicular axis theorem. Why? Because it is a circular object, you know. So this circular object, so we will call this IZZ is as a perpendicular axis. ZZ axis is your perpendicular axis for this total entire circle. So this will be equal to, so from the perpendicular axis theorem, summation of moment of inertia about their respective xx and yy axis. Xx and yy axis, that is moment of inertia of xx and yy axis. So Ixx plus Iyy. Ixx plus Iyy. So what about moment of inertia about these Ixx? That is nothing but pi d power 4 by 64. So this is also pi d power 4 by 64. Why? Because this is having similar geometries. That is axis of symmetry is same. Axis of symmetry is giving the same geometry. So that's why. So pi d power 4 by 64 for this one, pi d power 4 by 64 this one. So total, if you go for finding out the LCM, 2 pi d power 4 by 64 you will get. So if you cancel 2 divided by that 64, you will get that 32 is the value. That is pi d power 4 by 32 you will get as a moment of inertia perpendicularly. That is called as a polar moment of inertia. See here, PMOI is nothing but polar moment of inertia. So as pi d power 4 by 32 we got pi d power 4 by 32. This is about perpendicular axis for a circle. So what about your in the similar way you will go for finding out halo circle. So see here, if you go for halo circle, so which is having a smaller circle here, so larger circle diameter having capital D. So this is also having moment of inertia, central axis as xx and yy respectively. So if you want to find the moment of inertia for halo circular section about central axis xx and yy, so if you go for any axis you will get the same geometry. Axis of geometry is same. So go, then you will do definitely pi d power 4 minus d power 4 by 64. Pi d power 4 minus d power 4 by 64. How we are going to get this value is, so actually we are having pi d power 4 by 64, pi d power 4 by 64 as your moment of inertia of a larger circle. So from this larger circle you are going to subtract your smaller circular moment of inertia. There you will get, then you will get the moment of inertia for total section. Moment of inertia for total section. See here, what is common? Pi by 64 is common. So that's only I have taken it in common outside of the parenthesis. I will get pi by 64. So in parenthesis, capital D power 4 minus small d power 4. It means variation in the diameters only we will got. So that's why we are going to subtract these two terms and multiply with the whatever the value is there. So pi by 64. Then you will get the moment of inertia about their central axis as same. Why we are going to get the same? For two axis means it is having the axis of symmetry same about any axis. Axis of geometry is same about the axis of symmetrical axis or symmetrical axis. So what about the semicircle here? Now see here, it is very important. So see here, this is having a base axis. So see here, I have taken so this as your semicircle is placed on a xy axis. Okay, but their central axis passing through the here that is the central we are having for semicircle. So one of the axis is going to be pass through the centroid. So that is nothing but YY. So this YY is your central axis. But there is another thing is there. So XX. So this XX is nothing but for this semicircular. For this semicircular, this is the central point. For this semicircular, this is the center point. So what is this center point is nothing but this is the center point of a circle. Center point of a circle. So through this only, so we will definitely will have the center point for this semicircle that is located at certain distance from AB axis. Certain distance from AB axis. So for some time I have assumed as some distance. So that is y. That is y. So if I want to find out the moment of inertia about x axis, so Ixx, Ixx is equal to how much? 0.11 r power 4. This is comes from your the derivation by assuming your elementary strip vertically and horizontally. If you do it, you will get it. And what about IAB? What about IAB? It means it is the base axis. So moment of inertia about IAB, that is nothing but pi d power 4 by 28. Why? Because we know that pi d power 4 by 64. So 64 is your moment of inertia about base. What is meant by base axis here? So how much we are going to get? So pi d power 4 by 64 as your this one. So same thing for central axis IYY is you are going to get as pi d power 4 by 64. So 64 into how much? If you do it half. If you do it into half, you will get pi d power 4 by 128. 128. So 64 into half. Okay, 128. So half means you have to multiply it with pi d power 4 by 64 into 1 by 2. Half of this total entire moment of inertia. So half of this total moment of inertia, half into pi d power 4 by. So you will get pi d power 4 by 128 as your moment of inertia for this semicircle. For this semicircle. So see this one. So semicircular moment of inertia. Let's go for uh, once you will see semicircular moment of inertia as definitely. So you have to get 0.11 r power 4 and also about the base axis you are going to get as pi d power 4 by 128 or otherwise pi r power 4 by 8. So why? Because d is represented in terms of r. So that is d is equal to 2r they have represented. So 2 power 4 you will get as 16. So 16 8 job. So 128 years. Okay. So like that you will go for quadrant. So these six whatever the formulas we have discussed, these are very important derivations, very important derivations while solving the problems also you will get for external examinations also. Okay. Then we will go for seeing the problems. Okay. Now see here, I think already we have discussed this one. So today only we will solve total problems depends upon area moment of inertia total. Okay, and we will find out this area moment of inertia, then go for mass moment of inertia in coming classes. So see here, find the moment of inertia of a rectangular lamina. Okay, of 40 wide, width is given, and 80 deep, depth is given. Okay, so whatever the required rectangular geometrical properties are there, length and width total two are there. So two they have given, no problem. So Also determine the least radius of gyration. So we have to find out the moment of inertia of this rectangular object and also go for finding out the radius of gyration, least radius of gyration. So what is meant by least radius of gyration means I will tell you. I will tell you. So see here, a small definition for radius of gyration. So this is one elemental area or otherwise elementary mass which is having capital A as area or otherwise you will take total mass or total area. If it is mass you are going to get, you will go for finding out the mass radius of gyration. If it is area object you are going to consider area, radius of gyration. What is radius of gyration means I will tell you. So with respect to any axis, if you are going to rotate, entire area or entire mass of a body, about certain radial distance, about certain radial distance, So that radial distance I will assuming it as smaller. So which is making some radial axis, from radial axis, x or y, any axis, any reference axis you will take. And if you rotate this one, if you rotate about this particular axis, going to be create how much moment of inertia going to be create. So that perpendicular distance, with which distance it is going to create, so that is nothing but your radius of gyration. The radius of gyration means it is the distance about which the moment of inertia is going to be created. So r, so similarly moment of inertia is equal to I will represent actually moment of inertia. So in terms of area, how I am going to represent? So if it is not a differential element, if it is a differential element, you have to go for representing 0 to a integrate, and afterwards dA is as your differential element and also perpendicular change. So that's why only. So see here, or otherwise I will simply represent. So if it is a differential element, so you have to go for applying the limit 0 to a into, if it is area, so dA, and also whatever the distance is there here, perpendicular distance, that is r radial distance r. So if you integrate it, so you are going to get how much you are going to get. So integration of dA is a, r is your constant, so a r square is your total moment of inertia. This much amount of moment of inertia you are going to get per area object. If it is a mass object, whatever you are going to get, so actually dm is your elementary mass of the particular object. So if you integrate this elementary mass between your capital M is the total mass I have assumed, and also whatever the distance is there, it is small r is the distance. So how much amount of moment of inertia here we are going to get? If you apply 0 to m limits, so you are going to get as capital M is the total mass and r is the distance perpendicular. So mr square is your total mass moment of inertia. So but what about the radius of gyration here? So r is equal to, if you go for area moment of inertia, so here, so left hand side term is your moment of inertia, right hand side term is your product of area into radial distance square. So I want to find out radius of gyration, that is nothing but r is equal to, or otherwise r square is equal to, I will go for right hand side I divided by A, that is moment of inertia, ratio of moment of inertia to your area of the particular object, So, but if it is a mass, so then go for how much amount of moment of inertia that is going to be created by the mass, that to your total entire mass, I by M. But I want only the single R. So that is radial distance. That is nothing but radius of gyration. So that is r is equal to I divided by a square root of I divided by area. But if it is a mass, you are going to get I divided by m. I divided by total mass. Total mass. Total mass. Okay. So this is nothing but your moment of inertia, mass moment of inertia, and also area moment of inertia. This is area moment of inertia. This is This is radius of gyration of your area, radius of gyration of your mass. This one. Okay. So in order to find out this one, you have to know the moment of inertia of the area or otherwise mass, and also total entire area and total entire mass you have to. So this is nothing but radius of gyration. Now see here. So after knowing this definition, then there definitely the problem will be easy. Now let's go for solving the problem. So 40 width is there. Width is nothing height. 40 height is there. So depth is 8 So 8 as height I have taken, and wide is another one. You will take it as the length. So 40 length. So centroid I know. Centroid I know. If you draw the diagonals, you will find out the centroid and draw central axis. So x is my central axis. Y is my central axis. So he is asking that find out the only moment of inertia. He is not specified about the base axis. You have to find out the moment of inertia, or about central axis. You have to find out inertia. If he is not asking anything, means you have to go for only considering moment of inertia about central axis. You have to find out the moment of inertia about central axis. So central axis x and y here. X and y here. So we know that moment of inertia about x axis, that is central axis, but b dq by 12 we are having. So b is nothing but breadth, d is nothing but depth of the object. So they divided 12. So b is nothing but it is the wide. How much it is? So 40 mm. And also depth is how much? 80 mm whole cube divided by 12. You get the central moment of inertia as this much. Okay. So it is moment of inertia about y axis. So y axis is nothing but y central axis. So this is dbq by 12 we are going to get. So d is nothing but your 80 mm and b is nothing but your 40. So if you hold q by 12, you get 42.67 into 10 power 4. So now second thing is find out the least radius of gyration. So radius of gyration means minimum radius of gyration. Minimum radius of gyration means the whatever the radial distance it is going to make from that particular area object, that should be less. So how, what about the less means? So here moment of inertia, if you compare these two moment of inertia, central and moment of inertia, whether you are going to take ixx value or iyy value, so you have to go for larger radius of gyration, means you have to consider it as bigger one among this ixx and iyy. Okay, if it is least radius of gyration, means you have to go for minimum moment of inertia consideration. So here 4, 2, 6, 7, 10 power 5 mm power 4 is this one. Here 17.07. So see here 42.67 into 10 power 4, only 10 power 4. If you convert it into 10 power 5, so I will decimally I will shift this whatever the point is there, decimal point, I will forward. I will shift this before your second number, that is 4.27257 into 10 power 4. Why? Because so why? Because so see here 10 power 5 is there. It is also 10 power 5 should be there. So that's why if I shift this decimal point before your 2, so we will get 110. 267 into 10 power 5 into 10 power 5. So if you do that, now I will compare the total two terms. I will compare the total two terms. So 10 power 5, 10 power 5 same is there, but here 17.07 is there, but here 4.267 is there. Which one is least? Here IYY is having the least moment of inertia. So if you want to find out the least radius of gyration, I know the formula uh, for least radius of gyration. R is equal to square root of Iyy. Why I have taken Iyy instead of Ixx? I have taken Iyy because Iyy is going to be create the least moment of inertia. In order to find out least radius of gyration, we have to consider least moment of inertia. So that is nothing but 42.67 into 10 power 4. Or otherwise, you will go for 4.267 into 10 power 4. There is no difference there. So total same only. Divided by whatever the area is there, total area of this. So 40 into 80. How much? 40 into 80. How much? You are going to get as 3200. So if you divide it and if you square it, if you divide it, root it, you will get K or otherwise. Sometimes in some textbooks they are going to represent K as the radius of gyration, but we are going to represent in some textbooks in smaller. Smaller as the radius of gyration, or as capital small k is your radius of gyration. That means how much amount we are going to get? So 11.55 we are going to get. 11.55 we are going to get. If you want to really do this one, then easily you will go for and take Ixx first of all in place of this one, and take Iyy in place of this one, and then go for finding out the two radius of gyrations and compare them and give the two values of radius of gyration, and whatever the least radius of gyration is there, you will go for take that value. You will go for take that value as your solution for that particular problem. Radius of gyration. Anyway, you can do any problem in how so many ways. One problem we will do in so many ways. Solution will be same. Solution should be same. Okay. So this is also same problem. You will do this problem. Then we will go for next problem. Yes. Already I think we have seen this problem. So nothing much complicated is there. We will increase the complication of problem step by step. Okay. So this is not little bit complicated. It's very easy. But if you know the formula, it is very easy. The only thing is in this problem you have to know this. The details of the hollow rectangular section are given below. So sometimes they are not going to give this figure. They are not going to give this figure. Only the details will be given. So depends upon the given details or given data, you have to draw this figure. Okay, you have to draw this figure. Or otherwise, what you will do is you will rejoin again. You will rejoin again. You will rejoin again.